Hello, Lamer Gamers. This is Lamer Travis for the Lamer Gamers Podcast News Roundup. In today's episode, I'm going to round up the top news for the month of October 2022, as deemed important by Reddit. Expect to hear a monthly news roundup from here on out, along with more differentiated episodes, including deep dives and discussions, Is It Lame reviews, and bonus points that will now have their own dedicated episode slots so you can get the show in smaller chunks, because we know you don't have the time to dedicate to a 3-hour show regularly. Now, let's get to the news. Rowdy, cue the music! Alright guys, so this is how it's going to go. We are going to start with Nintendo news, we'll end up next with PlayStation news and Xbox. Actually, I had it backwards. I'm going to do Xbox first, then PlayStation, and end with PC gaming news. Now, how this works is I am, well, not going to do a lot of preamble or really try to find a lot of information beforehand. We are going straight to Reddit. I'm going to click top for the month, and let's see what is at the top of the garbage heap this month. First up, Nintendo news. By the way, some of this news will not be real news, and I will make fun of it. First up, Bayonetta's original voice actress was only offered $4,000 by Nintendo. Now, if you haven't heard, there has been some major controversy, and I think we're going to do an upcoming podcast with a deep dive and discussion over Bayonetta 3. This is one of those games that Rowdy 5000 really loves, and he can't be here today to give you a bigger idea of what's going on with this. But we have let me go ahead and click the link here. By the way, this has a tag of misleading because this has not turned out to be completely true. So there was an actress, voice actress, Helena Taylor, Bayonetta's original voice actress, explained on a 4-part thread on her Twitter account why she's not back as Bayonetta. Among other things, she opens up by saying that Platinum only offered her up to $4,000 before tax, which would make it like $3,500 or less. And she's also asking people to basically not buy the game and go donate it to charity. So that was fun. Well, whenever we find out a little bit more, there was a lot of back and forth, and we'll go over this in the upcoming episode, where you see that's not the full story. There was actually some other things where Jason Schreier from Bloomberg found out that she actually asked for a large amount of payment plus residuals from the game. And they actually wanted to, Platinum, who makes Bayonetta, wanted to hire her and actually offered her $3,000 to $4,000 per session. And that would be 5 sessions. And that's actually not the whole game because they had hired somebody else too. So there's been this back and forth, who is telling the truth. There has been some insinuation that they definitely did not want to hire her, and there was a very much like, well, we know, Platinum said, we know you don't have the time to do this, which is kind of a way you see sometimes from Japanese studios or other companies will make insinuations that you don't have time to do this, so, you know, we're really not hiring you, but we're being nice about it. So we'll see how that turns out, but we'll talk more about it whenever I get a little bit more research done, and then pull Rowdy in, because I'm pretty sure he is our go-to Bayonetta dude. I'm sure he'll give us a better lowdown on this. All right, next up, we had a bunch of garbage for the top 10. Let's see, there is a giveaway for a Switch. It's done. 2-player mounted Switch arcade cabinet, which actually looks pretty cool. a Hollow Knight themed pumpkin, which, by the way, if you join the Kraken Cast Discord, which I'll be putting a link up to this weekly on our Twitter at LamerGamersCast, you can actually see what I'm looking at on Reddit and scrolling through, or just, hit the top for the month and follow along. There's a really cool Hollow Knight themed pumpkin. It's pretty. Somebody got a Pokemon Switch. Really don't care. Now, this one's a fun. There is actually an Oregon Trail coming to the PC and Nintendo Switch. I'm going to click this real quick and see. It is, incredibly loud in my headset. But it looks like you can choose from different characters. It is definitely updated for new graphics with a little bit of a pixel flare to it. Might be fun if you are into roguelikes and you are either old like me that used to play this game back whenever that was the thing. You'd get to get out of class and you'd run down to one of those old Apple computers. And if you're younger than, 30, you're probably thinking, an Apple computer, that's super fancy. Wrong. Apple computers back in the day were it. And they looked like what I guess a refrigerator, a mini fridge would look like nowadays. But you might have enjoyed that back in the day in school. Well, now you can introduce your kids to it. Or, you ain't got kids, go play it again. This actually looks pretty good. People seem to be excited about it. The first comment says, time to put my sixth daughter down for the 1,000th time. Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to have different gravestones based on how people died. Because if you've never played Oregon Trail, you choose a character who has a certain amount of money, some skill sets, essentially, and you buy foods. It was always easiest with a banker because dude was rich, right? And you would have to hunt along the trail. There would be random events that would happen. People would die in your party, and you'd try to get everybody across. And it, of course, is loosely based off of the westward expansion in America, where people were going to Oregon and going across lovely places called, like, Death Valley along the way. Anyway, so very interesting. Looking forward to that. More not news, because there's not a lot apparently going on with Nintendo. There's more discussion over Bayonetta, which, like I said, we'll do in an upcoming episode. Here is an interesting news story. The Nintendo Switch Online, just the online service. I'm going to go to this website real quick. Tweaktown.com. That does not sound like a gaming website. But anyway, apparently Nintendo's newer Switch Online subscription has generated nearly $1 billion with a B, in revenue throughout 2021. This is new documents from Brazilian regulators reveal. That is a significant amount of money. Now, that's, I don't think, close to Game Pass, but still, it's quite a bit on how much that made. Now let's see. Dedicated gaming revenue, it looks like they have some other things up here. Digital games look like it made about $3 billion. Physical games and hardware made about $11 billion. That's pretty intense. So out of that $3 billion or so dollars, $2 billion of that was from games and other, whatever the other is. And it looks like that $1 billion would be the Nintendo Switch Online. So, very interesting there. Next up, let's go ahead and hop back to another one. It looks like I have to banhammer somebody that has joined the Kraken clan already. Oh, man. I'll get somebody on that here in just a minute. By the way, we have some, I made a link so everybody could join in, and it looks like they are posting things that are inappropriate. Looks like that's what I get for posting a link to get more people in here. All right, next up, let's go to, speaking of inappropriate things, it looks like Nintendo had to issue a statement after Japanese streamers and VTubers created content showing how can I say this, spicy video over the Enemy Inc. So they had to talk about their guidelines and how they will take down any post-streamer video for bad content. I'm not going to click that link, but looks like Nintendo is allowing... So if you... Okay, I'm afraid to click this. Let's see what Nintendo actually says right here. I can't read that. That's not in Japanese. So I'm not going to bother with it. This is a family-friendly podcast, but just know Nintendo had to get rid of some stuff, kind of like that person I just banned from the chat. Now, next up, people are suggesting that an hour with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet suggests they may be too vast for their own good. So it looks like we have a preview on Eurogamer.net. My goodness, Eurogamer.net. Notice I'm using an ad blocker. Yeah, we're going to refresh that and move down a bit. So it sounds like that they feel like the game is too large. They played for a little over an hour and dropped in by the home village with a team of Pokemon around level 25 made up of newcomers. Now, I don't know, man. I kind of want a big open world Pokemon game, and they're saying it feels like Elder Scrolls and Monster Hunter. I mean, well, yeah, make Pokemon more interesting. I got bored with Pokemon a couple years, maybe a decade ago. I don't know. It's been a while. Finally, it looks like, let's end this with, we got two more stories and we'll move on to Xbox news. But it looks like Nintendo's Black Friday sales have been announced. Now, we normally do a yearly show where we are actually going through and giving you an idea of what... let me see. Is this not showing up live? All right. Apparently it's showing the wrong screen. But we do a yearly show where we talk about the latest deals. But let's go ahead and give you a preview of some of them. So it looks like the Nintendo Switch bundle is going to be happening, where they're going to offer a Nintendo Switch with a neon blue and neon red Joy-Con and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, plus 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online individual membership. And they're going to bundle that at $299, which is going to be basically $70 off. You'll also see that there will be a $20 discount on Mario Party Superstars, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Animal Crossing, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Fire Emblem, Three Hopes, and Bravely Default 2. There will be a 33% off WarioWare Get Together and Big Brain Academy games, as well as $40 savings on Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, which brings the thrill of Mario Kart series to the real world at the suggested retail price of $60. Those things were pretty cool last year. That was the little toys that Mario Kart had that you could run around. They had cameras on them. Let's see what else we got. There is no sale on Splatoon 3, lame, Nintendo Switch Sports, or Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And the game that people are complaining is too large, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Not surprised there, since it is brand new. All right, next up, the last thing is there will be a Splatfest collaboration on November 11th. So, hey, we got some news before it's actually official. Where is going to be Pokemon and Splatoon. So I'm curious how that works. Oh, okay, so you pick either grass type, fire type, or water type, and decide who is the best. I would be, I think, water type. Squirtle. Okay, next up, let's move on. That is enough Nintendo news for this month of October. Let's move on to the Xbox Series X. Now, the first thing in the top news is somebody complaining about the advertising on the console being an absolute joke. And they show a picture of all the Call of Duty advertising ever created, taking up the bottom screen. And recently they just updated the dashboard, at least for the insiders, where it's very much like, hey guys, have you played Game Pass? Do you like Game Pass? Hey, click on this Game Pass thing. Xbox. That's pretty much expect that if it hasn't hit the regular consoles yet. Next one is a story making fun of the Please Check Your Candy this year. meme. If you haven't seen that, it's a open piece of candy with things in there. It says, please check your candy this year. We found troll posts in ours, and they won't stop repeating the same thing over and over. Xbox actually tweeted this, and it says, PlayStation's better. Also, we have a screenshot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and it looks pretty freaking good. Now, I do have some questions, though. And if you're in the Krakencast Discord, you can see this. There is a picture of a car that is impossibly, impeccably parallel parked into a spot, and I don't understand how they do that. People are asking, how did that car get into the parking space? And somebody replied that they planted the trees after the car was parked. So interesting level design there. Next up is a monthly reminder that the prices for the storage expansion are way too high. They show this in British monies. No, that's not British monies. That's 235,000, whatever that is. But yeah, they are too expensive. If you don't know what those are, there is a little card that goes in the back of the Series X that you can pay an insane amount for, because it's closed off. It's a peripheral with a very specific type of a file expansion, and there are no competitors. It's pretty much Seagate, and they set the prices. Let's see. More Modern Warfare. Apparently Modern Warfare 2 is, well, at least it's better than the last Battlefield, but it looks pretty freaking good. There's a video of it. Man, that looks pretty. And there's a campaign that's worth playing, so that's nice. There's just not a lot of good Xbox news from the month of October. Somebody bought a chat pad, and now they can insult your mom 300% faster. That's nice. People complaining about the dashboard. This is the general theme of the Xbox Series X subreddit. Plague Tale Requiem came out, and apparently it's really great. It does play at 30 frames per second. I have not tried it out yet. If you don't know what Plague Tale is, it is a sneak horror type game with lots and lots and lots of rats. They literally will have, I forgot, it was like 30,000 rats on screen in this upcoming game. It's pretty slow paced. If you like horror games, it's good stuff. If you like being sneaky. Then we have some people complaining about Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights was it failed. Apparently the gameplay, which, by the way, if you don't know what it is, it's basically Batman without the Batman. Batman is dead, and you're these four other people that nobody cares about. I think there is Batgirl, Robin, generic dude with a hat, and shooty boom boom guy. I don't follow that comic, so I apologize if I insulted you. But Gotham Knights is not doing so hot. Apparently the gameplay is really simple. It's repetitive. It does look kind of nice, but it's only running at 30 frames per second, which in a multiplayer game nowadays, you really don't want to do a 30 FPS game. Just doesn't run too great. And man, there is just not a lot of news. Yeah. By the way, there will be a future review bomb episode, because I don't know, I've talked about in the podcast, the reviews that are on the Xbox games are hilarious at times, and I found quite a few more. Here's some people complaining that crossplay is killing the casual gamer. Let's read this. This is a post that got in the top of the month, and they said they had to clarify it, but this is by user Canadian Turkey on Reddit. Forced crossplay and non-input based crossplay are killing casual gaming. They said, I bought an Xbox because I was tired of PC gaming and how sweaty it is. That I play on Xbox with a controller because I don't care about competitive gaming. Forcing me to play with PC players on mouse and keyboard or other console players who use mouse and keyboard is literally killing casual gaming. I own a console. I'm using a controller. I'm just trying to enjoy myself, which I can understand. I don't have a lot of brain left at the end of a day of work, and I don't want to just be mindlessly shot in the head in a video game or killed randomly because people are using bots or just have a bigger advantage because I'm trying to have some comfort and sit on my couch, right? Now, Modern Warfare 2 triggered this, as every match I play in 6 versus 6, we have at least one somebody is using a mouse and keyboard and just jumping all around the map, dropping everyone. I don't care if someone does better than me or if I lose. It's a console game, but when PC players clearly just dominate a whole lobby, no one but that person is having a good time. Crossplay needs to be input-based and needs to be an option that can be turned off. I'm tired of having a lesser experience on console because we cater to PC players or people who want to be more competitive. Now, they did update this, so they did not want to put console players versus PC players. They're different platforms, but there is a way to turn off crossplay for this, but it's not built directly into the game. You have to go into the actual settings of the Xbox to turn it off, so it's a little bit harder to find if you don't know how. Okay, and then some stuff about giant updates. I think that's really about it. There's not a lot of Xbox news coming out, and even Microsoft has said, "Man, we need some games. We need some AAA games on the Xbox," which I can agree. I'm playing a little bit less of it than I have been in the past. Part of it because of workload, but honestly, other than Game Pass, I don't have a reason to go out and buy a new game right now. And let's end it with Microsoft is now taking a $100 to $200 loss on all Xbox Series X and S sales. And they are starting to say there is a inflation-based increase coming up in the very near future. So if you're going to get an Xbox, just be ready, because inflation is taking everything with it, and it's all growing massively at the moment. And it's really hard to recoup that $200 per sale. Like, they know they're going to lose some money on the Xbox, right? That's why they pushed Game Pass so hard, because they make it up in revenue from Game Pass or from sales of their own games. But it doesn't look like they're making a big enough profit at the moment. So expect the price increase to happen, and there's going to be a Game Pass price increase coming up too in the near future, along with the family plan for Game Pass. Whenever we get some more news on that, we will let you know, because that's something I am definitely looking forward to. I think that's about it for the Xbox news. Let's move on to the PlayStation 5, which I don't give the best news on it. We need Rowdy here for this, but it looks like the PlayStation VR is going to launch in February for $549.99. So let's look through here. They talk about how over the past several months they've introduced a couple things about the VR2 lineup. It will include the headset, Sense controllers, and stereo headphones. They kind of look like a CPAP machine nowadays, which is interesting. And it will come with, let's see, there's going to be a Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle. So you'll have your store voucher for Horizon Call of the Mountain, the headset, and more. That's going to be at $600. There'll be a controller station for $50. So is this going to do anything new? I don't know. It includes key features that enable unique gameplay experiences, such as headset feedback, eye tracking, 3D audio, and adaptive triggers and haptic feedback for the Sense controllers. With compatible games that will captivate players' senses and offer an incredibly deep feeling of immersion. So they'll also have high-fidelity visuals that are 4000 by 2040 HDR video format. So basically 2000 by 240 per eye. So it's going to look pretty good. We'll see if it can actually push it, though, on the system. I'm kind of curious. I don't see anything super special. We might have Rowdy tell you more about it in the future. Next up, God of War Ragnarok has gone gold. From what I'm seeing, the reviews say it is going to be excellent. So that will be nice. That actually is like one of the games that I kind of want to get a PlayStation for. I don't have one yet. I'm trying to. So I have. I've been losing weight, right? I've been trying to lose weight for a couple of years now, and I've down about 50 or so pounds from where I started. Actually, 60, almost 60. So I'm set a goal for whenever I dropped down to, I think it was 75 pounds from my original goal, that I was going to get a PlayStation 5. But I don't really like. I want a PlayStation 5, but not that bad. So maybe I need a better goal. I'll get a new coffee grinder. Maybe that's how I lose some weight. My wife will not be happy because that costs more than a good coffee grinder costs more than a PlayStation 5, unfortunately. Okay, so next up we have people complaining about tomorrow marks 4 years of Red Dead Redemption 2, and there is still no PlayStation 5 60 frames per second patch. You know, I agree with that. They announced like a next-gen patch for Red Dead Redemption. I don't like that it's locked at 30 frames per second. I have some friends that play it on Xbox. It's fun. They introduced me to this game, though, like the online version, right? Because I tried playing the solo version, and it was just really slow, and the controls were annoying to me. But I started playing the online, and I got a little more used to it. But they introduced me to the game by basically beating the heck out of me, tying me up, and like throwing me in a river or something. It was ridiculous. Valid Thunder on the Kraken Discord, and other people were just doing that to me. Anyway, next up, let's see. Microsoft is going to keep Call of Duty on Sony platforms as long as there's a PlayStation out there to ship to. Is that an insult? Like, is Xbox saying, hey, as long as your system survives? But, I mean, that is nice that, if you don't know, Microsoft, also known as the amorphous blob monster who consumes all companies, has or is in the process of kind of like an anaconda does whenever they stretch out their jaws and lay next to something to figure out if they're big enough to eat it. That's kind of what Microsoft is doing right now with Activision Blizzard. And Call of Duty is, of course, an Activision. So they're going to own it. So that's interesting. Next up, Overwatch 2 launched, and it didn't launch to a roar, or it just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. That's about the reaction. There is an Elden Ring player that beat all 165 bosses in a run without taking a single hit. That person is insane. They probably didn't blink for a ridiculous amount of time. And that's a pretty negative note. So PlayStation Plus. So they revamped PlayStation Plus not too long ago. And I've complained about PlayStation Plus because it's starting to sound like a Capcom sequel. PlayStation Plus 2 Alpha Super World Edition, right? By this point, is that what they named it? Anyway, so according to VideoGameChronicles.com, PlayStation Plus has lost nearly 2 million subscribers since its revamp. However, Sony's network services revenue is up. So it expects to recover subscribers next quarter. But looks like they have, during this revamp, subs declined for the third quarter in the row. They had 45.4 million for the 3 months that ended September 30th, 2022, down from 47.3 in previous quarters. PlayStation Network's monthly active users were also down during the 3-month period at 102 million, which declined from 104 million. So, not great news, but they have a couple of big games coming out. They expect to recover things because of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and God of War Ragnarok in the near future. They still say PlayStation 5 engagement is high, so I don't think that's that huge of a deal, right? So And also it says a lot of people are saying, well, wasn't it on decline anyway since people who subscribed during lockdown weren't renewing? Oh, I guess. Nothing changed with the basic tier. Yeah, anyway, let's move on. It's a bunch of people that are coming up with excuses why they dropped numbers. Anything else? God of War Ragnarok, back to that, will take more than 50 hours and up to 70 hours to discover the full content of the game, and it's one of the best games ever. That is about it for the top news for the last month of October. Let's go to PC gaming, which I don't know much about, but everybody's asking for it, so I'm at least going to read through what Reddit tells me is good news. Okay, maybe not good news. This one. Ubisoft thinks you should pay $120 for Far Cry 6 Game of the Year Edition, even though it didn't win a Game of the Year award. I always love that, the Game of the Year editions. Which Far Cry 6, it's a good game. It's a fun game, but was it Game of the Year? Like, was it the Far Cry of the Year? I don't know. That's just silly. And I love that the first response is, or just wait 2 years and buy it for $10. Truth. Oh, even my dogs are like, hey, that's silly. All right, it's a Lamer Gamers podcast. If you don't hear dogs barking, is it a Lamer Gamers podcast? Next one. This says, I literally don't understand the hype about Overwatch 2. It's so generic and boring. Let's read through this post. They deleted it. This is posted by user deleted. Did they just get harassed so much that they deleted this? My friend was a die-hard Overwatch player, so naturally, with the second game coming out, I thought it would be different from the first. Maybe with some vast improvements or tons of new maps and things to play. Maybe some really cool cosmetics that would get me tempted to make a small purchase or buy the battle pass. ... I tried the game and it was so boring. It's literally the exact same game with some different shaders. The colors are a little bit different, so they're not the exact same color scheme as the last one, but almost everything feels exactly the same. That is right, Short Stack. And with the exception that it's impossible to afford anything now by playing the game. So, agreed. I have played Overwatch after just to try it because it's free now, but I didn't notice anything different. Like, I didn't notice anything that was like I would go out and spend money for it, which, I mean, free to play, whatever. So the next thing they says, let me be clear, the battle pass is literally a scam. You get almost nothing for it. You don't get any of the currency that's used to buy other cosmetics like you do in Fortnite or Apex. Any other game, literally you get nothing. I really don't understand the hype about this game. It's the most generic, boring game, extremely expensive for almost nothing. And people were replying, the 2 is just Overwatch 1 free-to-play update. Blizzard has gone to the bathroom since boardroom guys that just want to max the money output make game. I can't read people's whatever they say on here. So yeah, it says Activision board of directors have gone into full milk Blizzard of all value mode. You know, whatever. I mean, it's a free-to-play update. They probably shouldn't have named it Overwatch 2. I don't see anything that really makes it worth a 2 either. Then you have more Overwatch 2 players are stuck in queue because nobody wants to play support. Activision Blizzard hit with another harassment lawsuit. I mean, it is that time of the week. Perfect Dark has been fully decompiled. That's an interesting one. And mods are now possible. So that's cool. So, oh, wait, is that, let's see. Coder Ryan Dwyer has fully decompiled both NTC versions of the rare N64 shooter, and by doing so, basically people can make PC ports of the game, which are technically legal. So, modders will be able to add new features or improve the likes of resolution, frame rate, and text quality. That I'm okay with. However, I love that they're like technically legal. It's always a dubious thing whenever somebody starts arguing about copyright laws or trademark laws in regards to video games and what you can do with them. I can't say for sure it's completely legal. That's an argument for another day. That's a good bonus point topic. Let's see. The Witcher remake has been announced by CD Projekt. Let's see if there's an actual date. They did this on Twitter, and Twitter is taking a little while to load. Maybe I need to pay $8 for that. All right, here goes. We're thrilled to reveal that together with Fool's Theory, we're working on remaking The Witcher using Unreal Engine 5 with the codename Canis Majoris. We want to do this right, so please be patient. It's going to be a while. So I have heard some people are a little worried that they're going to mess around with the story a bit too much because they're going to put it to current day standards, which when people are worried about that, they're kind of worried about it being a little too PC, I guess you would say. And The Witcher is kind of known not to be overly that. Let's see. Fool's Theory. Who is Fool's Theory? Collective of AAA veterans who share a simple philosophy. Unbridled passion and flexible process is the perfect combo for crafting great game. Okay. What is... Okay, who are you? What have you made? Let's see what their projects are. I'm a little worried that they're just kind of like throwing a new company at this. Oh! Okay. Here's their projects. They made Divinity Original Sin 2, Baldur's Gate, Outriders. They did project support for Outriders. I'm sorry. So they helped put it together, I guess. 7 is an actual game that they released. I have not heard of 7. Maybe it's coming out in the future. But, okay, so these are people that get hired in to make games, right? Or help make games. 7, what is this? The Day is Long Gone. It is a 3D isometric RPG in which players can freely explore the sandbox world of Vetral Empire. Looks cool. Actually, that looks like something I would play. They've been talking about it since Gamescom 2017. Can I buy this? That's the next. Oh, hold on. There's a download button on the top right. How much is 7? And it's from Steam. Let's listen here, Steam. I can go to this page. I'm an adult. Mostly positive reviews. So yeah, that gives you a background. It's makes CRPGs. It's an action role-playing game. I'm curious how this translates over to The Witcher, remake of The Witcher 1. Hopefully it has better controls, because that turned me off of the original Witcher myself. Next up, Obsidian founder says he would love to make a new Fallout game. Yes, please. And I think that's going to be about it. There's going to be some more Diablo 4 news in an upcoming podcast. Just give you an idea of what's coming up for the month, which... Yeah, let's end the show with what I'm thinking. So right now, I realize we haven't had a lot of shows. Our shows generally are a long format. It's Rowdy and I kind of talking, having a good time. Unfortunately, long-form content is not working with today's algorithms. It's not working with how people take in media, especially now that, hey, everybody's... Well, I want to say everybody's back to work or struggling to find work or in between job interviews. So we're going to be moving to some shorter format, which this is going to be about a 40-minute podcast, but that's still shorter than our main shows. Expect the shows to kind of fall under this format in the future. We will have a news roundup, which will be dedicated to the top gaming news for these 4 systems, things, whatever you want to call them, which we'll use our buddy Reddit to help us figure that out. And then we'll have a bonus points, because everybody loves a bonus points, where you can answer in on a topic. And what we'll probably do is post it at the beginning of the month and then do that at the end. If you have suggestions for bonus points, reach out to us at LamerGamersCast on Twitter, which is our main venue of talking with people and getting things out there. And I know Twitter is a pretty entertaining, controversial topic nowadays, but I plan on staying there. It's something that I've enjoyed in the past. I'm kind of excited to see where they take it to, even if it's mired in controversy, depending on how you look at it. And then finally, we'll also have a deep dives and discussion show. We'll do that where we pick one topic to really dive into deeply and discuss. And then we'll have a Is It Lame review or preview. It could be either one. Depends on how much time we have. So those are kind of the shows that we're shooting for. We'll probably record a bunch of them all at one time and then splice them up. So you get at least something weekly or bi-weekly, because I realize we have been really slow on getting things out to y'all. And I appreciate everybody that is still hanging out with the show, checking in on us, and following and sharing. Share the show with the lamer you know. I do want to start taking these news topics too and posting them on YouTube with video. So expect that to show up. It'll probably be pretty low quality at first, where it's just me and Rowdy, and then a screen of what we're actually looking at and reading, and then we'll just pop it over there. But that's kind of what to expect with Lamer Gamers. I want to make it back to where, we started the original concept of the show, where we wanted to work with, the working class gamer in mind, the one that people would call lame for liking, easier to play video games, or, like people were complaining about earlier, being destroyed by PC elitist or elite gamers in competitive games, something that you would do and play for enjoyment, but you might not have time for anymore to sit down and get all the news. So I invite you to check us out, especially the news roundup, if you want to get caught up on what's going on in the gaming world. If you want to see something specific that you want us to dive into, or if you have any topics, let us know at LamerGamersCast. And I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you in a future episode of the Lamer Gamers Podcast.